I felt very insecure. I felt like, you know, I can't compete with this fellow who's master's degree from Yale. I mean, I've studied with some great teachers in New York City, but I don't have that foundation. He'd worked with Sissy Spacek. As a matter of fact, he heard me the other day saying, gosh, you know, if I could have done it anyway, I would have done it like you. And he said, I know, but I mean, I've worked with you and Sissy Spacek. Both of you have never had any, you didn't know when you were, you knew when you were young that you wanted to be an actress, but you didn't do it my way. You didn't go and get the master's degree from Yale and then start off-Broadway and then Broadway and then all that stuff. And yet, you come to this just as rich a craft as, he was saying this to me, as I feel that I come to the art. So that, I mean, I can hear that and go, thanks, John, you're being really sweet. But I wish that I had more theatrical training. I will get theatrical training as I get opportunities to act on stage. I mean, I've taken about 5 years of acting classes that are on stage, and you get down on stage, the teacher sits out in front, and you work like that. But when I get more experience on the legitimate stage, wherever, then maybe I'll feel more confident, although sometimes I think I'll never, ever get to the place where I feel confident. Harrison Ford is, I mean, he's trained too. It's not the same sort of formal training, and he doesn't have the off-Broadway, Broadway background. But what Harrison does when he creates Indiana Jones is just as demanding, just as technical and difficult. If sometimes I think more, I found working on Indiana Jones that it was often more difficult to come up with the true emotion in a set, or rather on a set in an adventure film where all the strokes were so broad, you know. It was either loud, it was big, it was, you know, if you're a painter, it was big strokes rather than little, tiny, gentle nuances.
But Kate, you say this about yourself, and you do a comparative study between your background and John Shea's theatrical background, your academic background. But while he was doing that and studying at Yale, you were getting a bachelor degree, a master's degree in education history, working with children with learning disabilities. And I'm sure that the actor who spends a day in New York after the agency sends her to do a Clairol ad or a Certs ad is dealing with the same search for the truth that someone working on Brecht in an off-Broadway theater. You were working as an actor too. There's more equality than you're giving yourself credit for.
Yeah, well, I'd like to think that's true. I think sometimes I become a victim of the people or the way of thinking that's prevalent often from the more rigid mentality in Hollywood or even New York or the executives. It's easy to go, well, here's the stamp of credibility to make, you know, that fits into the formula of making success, and this isn't. Although, as you're suggesting, there are as many talented people who come from nowhere as there are the people who come, you know, with a very studied approach to it. So I don't think that you can say one or the other is better, but there are some people who seem to say that.
All right, on that we will take a commercial break and come back with more, okay?
Yes.
Be right back with Kate Capshaw.